This feels different.
Yeah, this part is quieter.
Less about starting, more about continuing.
Exactly. This is where self-improvement stops being exciting and becomes real life.
Long term.
Long term.
So let's start with that. Why is long-term growth so hard?
Because it doesn't feel dramatic.
What do you mean?
There's no constant excitement, no big visible changes every day. It's subtle.
So it feels like nothing is happening.
Exactly. Even when a lot is happening underneath.
That invisible progress again.
Yes, but deeper this time. Not just habits, identity, mindset, perspective.
And things that change slowly.
And permanently.
So why do people quit at this stage?
Because they expect a finish line.
Like a point where everything is fixed.
Yes, but that point doesn't exist.
That's a bit uncomfortable.
It is, but it's also freeing.
How is it freeing?
Because you stop chasing some perfect version of yourself and start focusing on continuous growth.
So there's no final destination.
Just progression.
That changes how you see everything.
It does. You stop asking, when will I be done? And start asking, am I moving forward?
That's a healthier question.
Much healthier.
Let's talk about setbacks, because they're unavoidable.
Completely unavoidable.
And people take them personally.
That's the problem. They think a setback means they've failed.
When really?
It means they're human.
Fair enough.
Setbacks are part of the process, not an exception to it.
So how should someone respond to a setback?
First, don't panic.
Easier said than done.
True, but panic leads to overreaction.
Like quitting completely.
Exactly. Or trying to fix everything overnight again.
Back to extremes.
Always extremes.
So what's the better approach?
Pause, reflect, adjust.
Walk me through that.
Pause, don't react emotionally right away.
Okay.
Reflect, ask what actually happened without judgment.
So no, I'm terrible.
Exactly. Just facts.
And adjust?
Make a small change based on what you learned.
That seems manageable.
That's the point. Growth should be sustainable.
Let's talk about plateaus. That's when progress slows down, right?
Or feels like it stops.
That's frustrating.
Very. Because you're putting in effort but not seeing results.
So what do people usually do?
They either quit or try something extreme.
Again, with extremes.
Yes, but the better approach is patience and slight adjustment.
Not a complete overhaul?
No, usually small tweaks are enough.
Like what?
Changing intensity, trying a different method, or just staying consistent longer.
So sometimes the answer is keep going.
Most of the time, actually.
That's hard to accept,
Because it's not exciting.
but it works.
It does.
Let's go deeper. What does real transformation look like?
It's quiet.
Quiet?
Yeah, it's not a big moment. It's when you notice you're reacting differently to things.
Like what?
Situations that used to trigger you don't affect you the same way.
That's subtle.
Very. Or you handle challenges more calmly.
Or you stick to habits without thinking.
Exactly. So transformation isn't dramatic. It's internal.
Mostly yes. That's interesting. People expect a big before and after,
But real change feels more like, oh, I'm different now.
without realizing exactly when it happened.
Yes,
That's kind of beautiful.
it is.
Let's talk about identity again, but long term.
Okay.
Once someone builds a new identity, how do they maintain it?
By continuing the behaviors that created it.
So it never really stops.
No, but it becomes easier.
Because it's who you are now.
Exactly.
What about people who relapse into old habits?
That happens more than people admit.
Why?
Because old patterns don't disappear completely. They weaken, but they're still there.
So under stress, people go back to them.
Yes, it's familiar.
So how do you deal with that?
The same way you deal with setbacks without overreacting.
So no, I ruined everything.
Exactly. That mindset makes it worse.
Instead?
You recognize it and return to your habits as quickly as possible.
So recovery speed matters more than perfection.
That's a great way to put it.
Let's talk about burnout again, but long term.
Okay.
How do you avoid burning out over years of self-improvement?
Balance.
That word again.
It's important. You can't be in improvement mode all the time
Why not?
because it becomes exhausting. You need space to live, enjoy, rest.
So growth and enjoyment go together.
They should.
Otherwise, it becomes a chore.
Exactly. And then you quit.
So how do you balance it?
You build routines that include both effort and recovery.
So not just pushing all the time.
No, that's not sustainable.
Let's talk about patience one last time. It seems like the underlying theme of everything.
It really is.
Why is it so difficult?
Because we live in a fast world.
Everything is instant.
Yes, so when something takes months or years, it feels wrong.
Even if it's normal.
Exactly.
So how do you develop patience?
By focusing on the process instead of the outcome.
Meaning?
You measure success by showing up, not just by results.
That shifts your perspective.
Completely.
So instead of asking, did I get results today?
You ask, did I do what I said I would do?
That's powerful.
Because you can control that.
Results come later.
Always.
Let's bring everything together, from part one to now. What's the big picture?
Self-improvement isn't about becoming perfect
It's about becoming consistent
and aware.
and patient.
Yes.
It's about small actions repeated over time
That build habits
that shape identity.
that change your life.
That's the full cycle.
That's the full cycle.
And it never really ends.
It evolves.
That's a better word.
Growth is ongoing.
Always. If someone listening feels overwhelmed by all of this, what would you tell them?
Slow down.
That's it?
Yes, you don't need to fix everything right now.
Just one thing.
One small step.
And then repeat.
That's how everything changes.
Over time.
Always over time.
This has been real,
Yeah, not perfect, not polished, just real.
which is what self-improvement actually is.
Exactly.
All right, that's it for this series.
If you've been listening from the beginning, thank you.
And if you're just starting,
You're right on time.
always,
Take care of yourself.
and keep going.